Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Kristen Taylor. I am the Assistant Director for the Office of Career Professional Development and Diversity Initiatives here at Thurgood Marshall School of Law. And we're happy to bring to you an info session today about the Law and Technology Diversity Collaborative, which is a wonderful, exciting opportunity for 1L students to spend part of their summer at a technology company working in-house and part of their summer at a large law firm. So I'm going to pass the meeting over to Kathy Tsai. Kathy, welcome. Tell us about the program.
Thanks, Kristen. My name's Kathy Tsai. I work at GoPro, which is in the San Francisco Bay Area, and we make action cameras that you may have used on vacations or just for fun before. I'd love to introduce my fellow panelists, Star, Teresa, and Shira. Maybe you can give yourselves little intros, and then we can dive into the material. So Star, do you want to take it away with your intro?
Yes, Kathy, thank you so much. Hi, good morning, everyone. I am Star Rayford. I am currently a product counsel at eBay, also in the Bay Area. I'm down in San Jose. Before we go any further, let me just say big congratulations. I know you guys just had a very high visibility alum graduate from Texas Southern, and I am a huge Megan Thee Stallion fan. So big ups to you guys for that. I am so glad that you're all here for this informational session. Last summer, I was able to participate in the Law and Tech Diversity Collab and really had an opportunity to work very closely with quite a number of our interns last summer at eBay, one of which was Teresa Estrada. So I encourage all of you to ask all the questions you have, and please, 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 even if you're not convinced at the end of our session, I would encourage you to all apply. It is a wonderful program, and there aren't enough programs that are trying to make the practice of law more welcoming and inclusive for all of us. And this is one of the premier programs to do so. I'm going to turn it back to Kathy. Thank you so much.
Rookie mistake. I'm going to let Teresa and Shira introduce themselves really quickly because they're going to talk a little bit about their experience after Star and I give our sort of spiel. So Teresa, do you want to intro?
Yeah, so I'm Teresa Estrada. I'm a second year at Thurgood. I was part of the LiTD program. I got to work with Baker McKenzie and eBay. And it was a great program where I learned a lot and was able to not only develop a legal network, but also be able to develop my confidence in the legal field and built wonderful friendships. So glad everyone was able to make it.
Hello, everyone. My name is Shira Ali, and I'm also a second year at Thurgood. And at Law and Tech Diversity program, I was able to work with Ropes and Gray and HP. And I went into the program not knowing anything about big law, corporate law, just how the environment is. I had heard so many things from so many different people, fellow colleagues, from people that had never been into law school. So it was my experience of seeing things firsthand in this type of industry. And I learned a lot. I met a lot of people and I had a wonderful experience. It was remote, but it was truly, truly, it was unbelievable. Thank you all for coming.
Thank you, Teresa and Shira. Okay, so now that you've heard such great accolades, I can tell you a little bit more about the program. So LiTD stands for the Law and Technology Diversity Collaborative, and it's essentially a program for legal internship among technology companies in the Bay Area, as well as a few other companies outside the Bay Area. So it's a really unique, wonderful experience. It's a 10-week summer internship for women, underrepresented minorities, and other first-year law students who are committed to diversity. And in this case, each company hosts a student for about 4 to 5 weeks, and then a partner law firm hosts the student for an additional 5 to 6 weeks, and all students are welcome to apply. So what I'll be doing is talking a little bit about the goals of the program, as well as some of the mechanics of how application works. And then Star will give an overview of the summer program and what makes an applicant competitive for this program. And then we'll hear a little bit more from our alums. Okay, so the goals, there are really 4 goals here. The first is to give students work experience and legal training. And I know that many of you as first-year law students, it might be your first experience, you know, with the law. Maybe you're the first in your family to attend law school or college. And so that's super exciting. And really the best way to learn about what working in law is like is to actually have those in-person experiences. So you get the in-house training of being at a company like GoPro or eBay or HP or all these other great companies, and you get substantive work assignments. They're actually things that people at the company are working on. You get exposed to a corporate environment. You know, very different companies have different types of atmospheres and culture. So that's really fun to dive in. You learn about how in-house attorneys give legal advice, how they work with business partners and stakeholders, and also how they use outside law firms, like some of the law firms that you've heard about today already. And from the law firm side, you know, your second half of the program is with a law firm. You get to experience what it's like to, you know, bill hours, to work in different departments like litigation, M&A, transactional. And it's okay if you don't know what those different departments do or mean at this point. It's all part of the learning process. And it's really just the immersion into the in-house and law firm experience that is so important to building your skills. The second goal is to give you resume credentials. You know, not only will you have summer experience on your resume, but you'll have a 2-for-1. You'll have a company as well as a law firm to help shine up your resume and make you really attractive for future experiences. The third is to expand your network of professional contacts. And networking is one of those things that I always dreaded and still kind of dread because, you know, I'm an introvert at heart. But networking really is so important to building your career, you know, whether in the law or elsewhere. So there's really 2 kinds of networking. It's broken down in my notes here as vertical and horizontal, but essentially it means you get to network, you know, within the company, within the law firm. You grow mentorships, you get to meet people that you might, you know, be colleagues with in the future. And also horizontally, you get to meet people that, you know, will be your colleagues, people that you might work with or you might partner with on projects in the future. And finally, the last goal is to give you the confidence to succeed. So, you know, you really grow relationships with people that you work with. And these people do care about your careers. They want to see you succeed, not just over the summer, but in the long term. And also trainings, getting information, experiences, learning that, you know, there's a place for you at the company, at the law firm. There's, you know, you belong at the company and law firm, you belong in the legal career. I think those are all really great things that you'll gain from that experience. Okay, so mechanics of the program. I'm gonna drink some coffee really quick so I can calm down. Okay.
This has been great so far, Kathy. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Encouragement on the go. I love it. Thank you. Okay. So this information is just kind of how the application process works. You only need to fill out 1 application, and that gives you consideration by all the participating tech companies and law firms that they're partnering with. The company actually will review and make their own hiring decisions. So in that way, it's kind of a collaborative, but you know, free market system. It's open to all first-year students who are interested in tech and have a demonstrated commitment to diversity and inclusion. I mentioned before, it's 10 weeks long. It's over the summer. So you'll spend half the time in-house, half the time at the firm. It really depends on the company, whether the firm comes first or the company comes first or vice versa. It kind of depends also whether it will be virtual or in person. That's sort of all TBD. As an FYI, generally most attorneys don't get hired at companies directly out of law school. It happens occasionally, but it's very rare. So getting this experience over the summer is really unique, and it is really, really helpful for, building your career long-term. And also the law firms that we partner with, they're like the best law firms. Like there's a lot of like name recognition, but it's also firms that have a commitment to diversity and inclusion, which is wonderful, and have really robust departments and want to bring on LITD interns, not only as summer associates, but can be considered for an offer to return for your second year summer as well. So that's great. So I'll turn it over to Star now so I can drink some more coffee.
Amazing, Kathy, dynamic and so informative as an introduction. So there's two things that I would like to discuss with all of you today. The first is just to give you an idea of how the program works, some of the benefits that you can look forward to experiencing as members of the program. And then our established alumni will go into those benefits in a bit more detail. And finally, I want to talk to you all about how you can make your applications stand out. One of the things that Kathy touched on, which is so important, are that these jobs that you take during the summers of your law school career really help position you for what those first 5 years of your life post-law school are going to look like. One thing I want to remind you guys is that you've done the hard work. Making it out of college, getting into law school is already the hard work. And passing the bar exam is the hard work. Once you're done with the bar exam, things get much, much easier, but they're much harder to navigate because you're out on your own. So one of the benefits of participating in the Law and Tech Diversity Collab over your one-hour summer is that you're going to meet people who can help you navigate what those first few years after you graduate from law school are going to look like. And that's one of the things that's probably the most beneficial aspect of the program. So let's talk about a few of the past events that we've had, just to give you an idea of what it looks like. For example, last summer, after Teresa did her time with her law firm and she came to join eBay, she was able to meet with various attorneys within the eBay legal department on a legal basis because she had two people who were set aside as her mentors. Not only did these mentors give her information and a chance to peek behind the veil, so to speak, regarding how we handle risk assessment and conflict analysis within a international e-commerce forum, but they were also there for her to bounce questions off regarding what she was going to do when she came back to campus for her 2L year, how she was going to set up her career plans, what she was looking to do for her 2L summer, and what she's really looking to do post-graduation. Other events that some interns have participated in included safe place discussions, where people who consider themselves to be others, whether you're a non-traditional student, a woman student, a member of the queer community, a member of a racial or ethnic minority that's not well represented in the practice of law. Just safe space discussions where you can talk about your concerns and learn from the experiences of other attorneys who have walked in your shoes. There have been programs where we offered financial planning advice and fireside chats with other alums. Really intense writing instruction was something that a lot of our participants particularly enjoyed. And one of the most fun events that I was able to participate in with our interns was a virtual escape room, which was a lot more fun than it sounds and a lot more fun than I anticipated it to be. So while the program is definitely intended to give you an experience and an understanding of how to be an attorney, both within private practice and within the corporate world, it's also just a chance for you to let your hair down and pat yourself on the back, because the first year of law school, hopefully, is the hardest thing you're ever going to do. And the fact that you make it through that first year of law school, we're here to celebrate that. with you. Before I move on chatting about how to make yourself a competitive applicant, are there any questions? And if you don't want to be put on the spot, please feel free to use the chat function, because both Kathy and I will be able to answer questions while we're speaking. Perfect. Okay, so making yourself a competitive applicant. One of the things that you really want your application to demonstrate is that you've got a commitment, not just to technology, but a commitment to learning and a commitment to excellence. One of the big things that your application is going to be evaluated on are your abilities to write and analyze, not necessarily coherently, because all of you guys are experts at that already, but to really put yourself in the shoes of a client. And if I were a client, what would be relevant to me at this point? Granted, I know that probably sounds very far-fetched right now, especially because you haven't even finished your first semester of legal writing class. But that's one of the things you want to think through, is how can I demonstrate in my application that I am a detailed and analytic writer, that I am someone who's willing to focus on having compelling and persuasive analysis. You also want to demonstrate that you're a team member. Are there any experiences, maybe in law school, where you've been a member of a team? Are you working with your Hispanic Law Students Association? Are you working with your Gay Straight Alliance? Did you work with your National Black Journalist chapter when you were an undergrad? You know, are there any ways that you've contributed to other groups and been invested in something that maybe was bigger than yourself, that gave you an opportunity to give back? And you don't only have to focus on experiences within the academic realm. If you've been active in your temple or your place of worship, feel free to use those also. But what we're looking for are people who want to be leaders, people who want to be able to stand up, take responsibility, and learn how to navigate the oftentimes very confusing practice of law, whether you're in a corporate legal department or you're within private practice. One final thing I would encourage everybody to think about when they are focusing on their applications: why law and tech? Why is this the program that you're interested in? Again, I'm biased. I really love the program. I think it's one of the best programs as an attorney that I've ever participated in, giving students exposure and valid experiences. But it's also really interesting because if you know that you're interested in tech and you don't know what that looks like, this is a great opportunity for you, as Kathy said, to meet with people and to start having conversations with people regarding what your future career in tech may look like. I am going to use myself as an example. When I came out of law school, I knew 100% I was going to be a trial attorney. You know, I grew up watching Matlock with my grandpa. I was obsessed with Law and Order. And I went to law school knowing I'm going to be a trial attorney when I come out. And I came out of law school, I joined a really big firm, and I was a trial attorney. And it was nothing that I expected. I was blindsided. I did not know what I was getting myself into. But every day I was spending hours on the Wired website or on Reddit in technology subs, excuse me. And finally, I said, I know I want to work in tech and I have no clue how I'm going to get there. I don't even know what the options are for someone who doesn't have a background in tech. I graduated college with a degree in women's history and English literature. I had no idea how that was going to be able to help me get a job in tech. But I met people within the tech space and they helped me. And they said, oh, you should look at being a product counsel. You should look at going into marketing in the tech space. There are these different avenues for you if you're interested in tech. And it worked out. That's how I got the job that I have now. And one of the great things about last summer and participating in the Law and Tech collab is that with our externs, I was able to sit down and talk with them. Oh, I see you're really interested in sneakers, or you're really interested in streetwear. Well, we really need marketing and intellectual property attorneys at eBay and in most e-commerce businesses. Maybe that's something you can think of. Or I know that you're really interested in music. Why don't I introduce you to people that I know at Spotify so you can talk about what it's like to be an attorney at Spotify. I will wrap this up to make a long presentation just a bit longer. If you guys forget everything that I've told you, please remember this. A law degree is a magic wand, and you can have whatever career and whatever life that you want once you have a law degree. But you have to put in the time right now in law school to figure out what kind of spell you want to cast. What does your dream job look like? And participating in this program will give you an opportunity to meet people who love their jobs, who enjoy what they're doing, and can give you some direction so that when you walk across that stage and you get your magic wand, you're totally prepared to create the life and the career that you want. So please, 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 I encourage all of you guys to apply. And if you'd like any additional information, or if you're just looking to connect with an attorney and talk through some stuff, please feel free to reach out to myself. I'm on LinkedIn. Thank you so much. Kathy, I will turn the floor back to you.
Great, thanks. So we're going to have Teresa and Shira, you've heard from them already, but give a little bit more info about their decision to apply, as well as their experience and any takeaways that they've had from being in this program. So go ahead, and also we'll do Q&A throughout as well as through the end. So feel free to just queue up questions in the chat and we'll get to them for sure. So Teresa or Shira, whoever would like to go first.
Sure, I'll go first. I'm gonna kind of go off of what Star was just saying. I kind of like that she went into law school having an idea of what she wanted to do. I actually wanted to do everything. And Kristen had probably experienced that with me because she couldn't kind of pinpoint where I was because I was applying to everything. Everything that was popping up, I was there. I was spending hours with them at the career fairs, and but the one place where I wouldn't go was anything related to big law. And when they saw me everywhere but there, so they're like, why not big law? And I was like, no big law, because I had heard so much you won't have any time to do this, you won't be able to do this. It became really intimidating. And then this program, there were constant emails about this program. And I actually applied at the deadline because I wanted to see for myself. Some people either loved it or hated it. So I just didn't know. So I was like, I'm gonna give this a shot. And I did highlight my technical background, which isn't a professional technical background. I've used technology to make money in years when I was always side hustle here, my single mom days and my college days. So I pieced those together because technology helped me make money when jobs weren't enough, or when college, was in the way of working. So when I pieced that together, not only in my resume, but also in my personal statement, that is the majority of the questions that I got in my interview process. That's where because I didn't come with a degree in tech, and I maybe couldn't tell you certain things, what's this and what's that, and all this 3D printing and, this stuff I hear other people talk about, but I use technology personally. And it became the highlight of my application, where in an interview, that's what they wanted to know about, that how were you able to do this, or how were you able to learn that? So I feel like if you're in a position where you think that this looks intimidating, 5 weeks here, 5 weeks there, take a leap, just check it out, apply, it won't hurt. Because once I got there virtually, I did end up going to San Francisco to meet them for the last week of my internship. But most of my internship was online. It was with Ropes and Gray and then HP, and then I went back to Ropes and Gray. So mine was a little bit different than what I've been hearing. So I want to say this, that once I went there, it wasn't that monster like under the bed that it seemed like, because everybody was still learning. They were there for years and they were still learning. And I was kind of scared that it's remote. I won't know what to do. How are they going to teach me anything online? I need somebody right next to me. There was always someone with me. I didn't feel like I was left just in my own home office to fend for myself. My schedule was jam-packed, and remote actually helped, because I don't think going to San Francisco, I could have worked with people in Chicago, worked with people in Boston, in New York. I attended a lot of fun events, which were like, we cooked together, we made cocktails together, we painted together, but we did work too. So we got our hands into work. Like that was later, that was after 5 p.m. But there was a lot of experience. You think in going into big law, I walked out with so much immigration work. I would say that I had no clue. That was not even on my mind that I was going to be exposed to that. But I got a lot of work in immigration. I learned a lot about the healthcare industry, and also about how businesses start up and how they become corporations, and how these law firms help them legally. And my experience with HP completely blew my mind, because I never looked at HP this way before. Like, computer and printer is what you would think, but I sat through trials with them, remote trials. And I had no idea that would come from HP. And, they're like, hey, what are you doing at 9 o'clock tomorrow? It's like, what do you want me to do? It's like, you're going to come to this trial. It's like, okay, great. So I was like, all right, what do I need to do? They're like, you need to read this so you know what's going on, because you need to catch up. And then they would follow up like, okay, you have any questions? All right, be there at 9. And I was like, I cannot believe it. Like, I'm thinking printer here, and we're here. There's a judge and all. It's like, this is for real. This is not Law and Order. This is happening for real. And would have never imagined it, because I would think that would come more from the law firm side. But I sat through more trials with HP, so that was really interesting. One thing I took away is that this internship ended in last week of July. In August, September, October, November, and December, I've had one person check up on me from Ropes and Gray every single month. Do you need anything from us? Can we help you? Can we help you with tutoring? Can we help you with midterms? Can we help you with anything? And also from HP. They always reach out. That I have I call him my mentor, and he's always like, stop it. It's like, Christoph, I don't know if you know him, Mr. Mosby. And he's always just like, hey, what's going on? Do you have any questions? Do you have any concerns? Do you need help? How are your midterms? What were your grades like over the summer? Like, just accountability. It's amazing. And I'm going back next summer, and it's kind of because of them, because they never really let me go. They still check up on me, and I loved it. Mr. Mosby was like, what were your summer grades like? You told me you were in classes. It's just amazing. They don't forget about you. And I get texts from my mentor at Ropes and Gray. She's like, hey, I have tutors, I have people, do you need any help? And I'm just like, no, you're just reaching out. That's great. Thank you. Thank you so much. It's just been an amazing experience. It wasn't as scary as I thought it would be. And hopefully next summer I get to be working at the actual office, because that will just be great. Thank you. Thanks for listening. Sorry for going on and on. I actually had a really great time. I love telling about it. I encourage someone else to actually text me too if they have any questions, just because I enjoyed it a lot. Thank you.
That was wonderful. Thank you, Shira. Teresa, do you want to talk a little bit more about your experience?
Yeah, so kind of like Shira, I applied the day the application was due, and that was kind of a mess up on my end. I thought the deadline was a lot later, and I just so happened to check one of my emails from the OCPD office, and they were like, it's due today. And so I was like, well, okay. And kind of like Star, I came into law school actually wanting to pursue like criminal law, but I didn't really know what that entailed. Coming in as a first gen undergrad student, I kind of was just figuring things out in the legal field as I went. And then I was able to join the mock trial competition and saw how it was to be a trial attorney in retrospect, and quickly learned that that was not for me. So then I pivoted over to more of the corporate end, and then of course saw this opportunity to be able to not only work with a firm, a big corporate firm, for that matter, but also in the tech company and work in-house, which was like really rare, especially as a 1L. There's kind of limited opportunities for you in general, and this one just stood out the most. So I spent like all day at a coffee shop working on my application, really kind of sat with myself on like why law and tech, and it kind of boiled down to two things. One, the legal profession and the tech industry are both environments where diversity and inclusivity are needed, especially coming from a background as a minority, but also a woman. It was important for me to join a program that was really going to support both ends of that. And I felt just interviewing with, I actually interviewed with my mentor, who ended up being my mentor at eBay. And she was amazing, and they were so welcoming, and she was just like straightforward with me and was like, this is what it is. This is what we can do for you. We want to help you. And they really lived up to that. They really checked in on me during my time. So I spent my entire experience virtual as well. I was able to go to San Francisco the last week with Baker McKenzie, and that was a lot of fun, but majority of it was remote. And so I spent my first 5 weeks with Baker McKenzie, where I was given a mentor and a work coordinator. Both checked on me every day, both gave me substantive work assignments. They guided me with all the technical things like billable hours. That was a brand new concept, still something that I had to work on. And they keep your schedule packed, like Shira said, like, because we were running on Pacific time and we were here in Houston. So it was, we would start at 9 a.m. all the way until 9 p.m. But it wasn't, yes, it felt like work, but you were working with people that cared and that really wanted to develop your skills. And so it just felt like fun work, if that makes any sense. And then I took a break and then joined eBay. And eBay was just a lot of fun spirits. Like I had already had built a relationship with my mentors because they reached out to me from the very beginning during my time at Baker. And they would check in on me, and they still check in on me, and make sure I'm okay, ask about midterms, ask if I'm, mentally okay in school, and just subtle things like that where a text makes a difference, and then through the program itself, we had our own events through the LiTD program where we had workshops and we could develop our skills that way. So it was just a lot of different avenues to be able to not only build your networking skills, but kind of get you out of your shell, get yourself comfortable and confident in yourself and what you can bring to the table. Star was a big person that helped me with that. I sat on a one-on-one with her and told her, like, how do I negotiate offers? How do I sell myself? How do I make myself stand out when it comes to my second year summer, post-grad, things like that? Like as a woman, like, how do I maneuver that? Kind of asking those difficult questions that are not always answered. And Star was honest, and she gave me exactly what I needed, to use to help moving forward into my next summer program. So, and then I guess like a big takeaway for me was really building a legal network that I could really fall back on. Like everyone added me on LinkedIn and check in on me. Like, I know if I ever need anything. When it came to interviewing for OCI, I heavily depended on my mentors and relationships at eBay to help guide me, and they made themselves readily available for me. And that was huge for me. So yeah.
Thanks for sharing, Teresa. So I think we've all provided a little background, some tips on making yourself a competitive applicant, and some experience from alums here. Are there any questions that we can help to answer? Or Star or Shira or Teresa, is there anything else you'd like to share with everyone?
So Kathy, thank you so much. I just got two things I'd like to say that I probably should have said during my allotted time. The first is, if you're wondering what the summer looks like, nuts and bolts, when you get to your law firm, for those first about 5 weeks, you are going to be assigned a mentor, maybe two, and you will have a chance to go and meet people throughout the law firm in different practice areas. You'll be getting assignments from different groups, and you'll be doing those assignments throughout your time there, in addition to all the fun activities. And you'll also be getting feedback, which is very important. And the exact same thing is going to happen when you go to your company for those remaining 5 or 6 weeks. Well, you'll be assigned a mentor or two. You'll be doing legitimate assignments, not busy work. We're not going to have you in a room doing document review. You're going to be doing very substantive work. And one of the things that everyone, as 1Ls, if you talk to anybody who's 1 year ahead of you, they're all going to talk to you about how stressful and crazy the OCI process is. One of the great things about the LiTD program is that you're going to come out of that program with stories that are going to make you really stand apart during the OCI process. So when everyone else is applying and trying to get a job and trying to convince people to take a chance on them and to see their potential, not only are you going to be able to tell your interviewers, yes, I have potential. Here's an example of how I demonstrated that when I worked for a $3 billion company last summer. Here's an example of how I demonstrated my analytical abilities and wrote a memo that really was valuable to a law firm, a significant and well-respected law firm. And so not only are you going to be making these relationships that hopefully are very long lasting, but you're also going to be able to get that information and those anecdotes that are really going to help you stand apart during the OCI process.
That's awesome. Thank you, Star. So Aaron has a question for us, whether collaboratives will be in person for summer 2022. So I think that's very dependent on the company as well as their partnering law firm. I'll speak on behalf of GoPro. We are not quite sure when we're going to be going back in person into the office. Currently, we're all remote and you can go into the office sort of on an as needed basis. We are doing some more in-person activities. Like we just had a really nice lunch with our legal team last week in person. It's the first time I've seen them in person for 2 years. So that was really wonderful. I do know on the law firm side, we partner with Kilpatrick Townsend, and they did bring Maddie, our LiTD intern from this summer, into the office for a week, I think similar to some of the other interns experience this summer. So there is some in person, but it may not be full time. It's really sort of a wait and see situation and very dependent. But thank you for that question.
Thank you. Sorry, I'm at work, so I had to type it in.
Oh, no worries. Actually, typing it is perfect too, because everyone else can see the question too. Are there any other questions or things you're curious about or What is the salary? Great question. So that is also dependent on the law firm and the company that you're partnering with. I would say in most instances, it will be comparable to whatever a traditional 2L associate is being paid for that summer. And I believe if it is in person, for example, housing and those related expenses, it's also dependent on the law firm. Teresa or Shira, do you have anything you'd like to input you'd like to provide on, like, I know it was remote for you in this situation, but I know it is comparable to what sort of the typical 2L summer associates are also being paid.
Yeah, so I know for me, the full 10 weeks were paid like like what you said, as a 2L summer associate at a big law firm. I think for most big firms, they pay the same for a summer associate. So if you want to kind of look on Google, like type in a big firm and it'll give you a salary range. They kind of give you what you would receive if you were a first year associate. So you get paid that the full 10 weeks.
And I think it's important to note too that part of the programs, part of the tenets of the program as well is that the LiTD associates at the law firm are treated exactly the same as all the other typical, 2L summer associates as well. So they also get assigned a mentor. They get invited to the same programs, activities, get the same types of assignments. So there is parity there. Okay, let's see another question. Were you able to do summer school during the program? Shira, do you want to provide input on that?
Yes, I took 2 classes while I was participating in this program. So one of my classes were completely, they weren't, I wouldn't say self-paced, but there was no meeting, there was no lecture. So it was all video, but there were a lot of deadlines for that. So I had to make sure I had that along with my my calendar for the firm and then for Law and Tech for their events. So I had to make sure because I had something due on Tuesday and Friday every single week. And I had my other class did meet twice a week for 3 hours in the evening. And I was really open about taking classes while doing the internship. So before registering, I did talk to my mentors about taking these classes and what they thought, and they were just like, yeah, do it, no problem, like this is great. And just if you're working on something and you see a time conflict, just let them know that, hey, you have to make it to class on that particular day. So I was able to do 2 classes while being in this internship.
And additional question about housing assistance. So that varies with each company and law firm. I will say though that in traditional pre-COVID times when programs were in person, that in most cases, I think there would be housing assistance, especially if you're, as you all are, would be relocating from for the summer from Texas to the Bay Area. Great. Any other questions or things you're curious about?
I just wanted to add that last week that they did invite, I think Teresa had also said she was also in the Bay Area. That was covered by the firm entirely. So we never spoke about housing because it just seemed like it wasn't going to happen during the summer because of COVID. So it didn't come up. But I do want to say that I was actually really comfortable, like from week 1, asking. It's just the environment that they had created, and the credit goes to them, that if that was a concern, I feel like I would have been able to address it with them, like, hey, this is what I need, or this is what I was thinking, what do you offer? So it's not like you have to just wait. You can ask these questions once you pass the interview process and how this is going to go.
So Shira, thank you so much for sharing that. I just want to go back to the salary question. When I got my summer associate position, it was a unexpected joy of how much I was getting paid. So essentially, I know Teresa offered some great advice about how to Google it, but just keep in mind that most new attorneys at law firms are making over 130, 140 a year, and you're going to be paid that for the portion that you're there during the summer. So it is significant. And if you wanted to like fly in for a couple of days, you'd definitely be able to afford to do so, in addition to the housing assistance that certain firms offer. But just in case this summer also ends up being completely remote, I hope that doesn't discourage anyone, because we've been remote now for 2 years at law firms and in corporate legal departments, and they have definitely learned how to make sure that you feel welcome and part of the team, although we're meeting virtually and remotely. And one of the great things about that is you will be able to do a summer program working in a legal department or working at a law firm, and you won't have to wear a suit every day, right? Like you can be in jeans, you can be in sweatpants. And this might be the last time in the history of law school programs where you're able to do that. So please don't let the fact that we may be remote discourage you from applying.
And we also have a question about GPA, how heavily it's considered. In my experience in reviewing the applicants, typically we only have a single semester of grades to review, which I would say isn't a lot to go off of. So I like to think when I review the applications that we're really looking holistically at your writing sample, your cover letter, why you want to be a part of the program. I think a lot of that context in some ways is more compelling than simply looking at a number. So I would say it's kind of, we're looking at a lot of things all together, but really hone in on writing a compelling statement of why you want to participate in this program, your interest in technology, whether it is from professional experience or, in Shira's case, just from personal experience as well as your commitment and leadership in the area of diversity and inclusion too. Star, do you have any thoughts on application review?
Yes, I just want to remind everyone, when I talked a few minutes ago about how to make sure that your application stands out and that you're a competitive applicant, I not once mentioned grades. So you really want to focus on those things that I did mention. Focus on how you can demonstrate that you can think critically, that you can analyze critically, that you can provide concrete information and communicate effectively. Demonstrate how you're a leader. Demonstrate how you've given back to organizations, whether they're focused on diversity in the ethnic and the race, or in the queer community, or even in the disability community. For instance, I have a hearing disability, and I do a lot of work with other people who have physical disabilities who also practice law. There are a lot of ways for you to demonstrate that you're a leader, that you would bring value to the law firms and the corporate legal departments that are fortunate enough to work with you next summer. And you really want to make sure that that comes across in your statement. And don't hesitate to reach out if you guys have any questions. And I'll turn it back over to you, Kathy, to start the response to our applying and interviewing question.
I actually was going to take that, Kathy, if you don't mind.
Awesome. I was going to pass you.
Yes.
Great.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So thanks for all the information. At this point, I'm going to share my screen and show the students how to find the position on Simplicity and how to complete their application. So everybody at this point should be able to access Simplicity. If you cannot access Simplicity, you need to email me immediately. That will be the key to applying to many opportunities while you're in law school, but particularly this position. So I'm going to share my screen and log into my student account on Simplicity. Can you guys see my screen? Can I get a thumbs up? Nod? Okay, great. So if you click the virtual job bank here on the left toolbar and then go to search, you can type in a keyword. So for instance, let's just type in law and technology. Okay. You can also find the position by just searching all the available positions, but I hope it's easily accessible. Let's see. Of course, because I'm on Zoom, it's going to take me forever to find it, but it is in here, I assure you. When it comes up. Okay, so these are all the positions in Simplicity that are coded with law and tech, but I just have to find it.
It could also be under the LiTD acronym. I'm not sure.
Oh, okay. Let me try that. Nope. Bear with me, folks. You probably would have to do something similar if you were searching at home. So I always change it so I can see the maximum number of results to minimize my scrolling. Let's see. CLD. Where is it? While we're looking, you see there's many opportunities for 1L summer position. So you should not have any trouble finding opportunities to apply, but I would like to find law and tech if I can.
I also wanted to point out that
Yeah.
Teresa shared her email address in the chat as well for you all who have questions about her experience and you want to reach out to her.
Yes, thank you, Teresa. Okay, guys, press pause. Somebody, let me make sure it's in here. Let me do a little off-camera scrolling and I will be right back with you. Hang on.
I can also provide a little input. So after the application process, you submit your package by the deadline, then the folks within the LiTD program will be reviewing the applications. And it's a pretty comprehensive review. There's usually at least 2 people who review each applicant's materials. And from there, it's up to the companies as well as law firms to select from across all the different applicants and law schools who they want to bring in for interviews. So there's sort of a multi-step process of first your application materials go in, and then there's interviews. And the interviews could be with, multiple interviews. It could be, one with the law firm, one with the company, could be with additional people. So it is a process. So I thank you in advance for your patience during that process. But it really is about getting the good fit, not just for the law firm and the company, but also for you. What are you interested in and what do you think you could see yourself doing in the future? So I think it was Star's example of, interest in footwear or, streetwear. So like whatever inspires you, whatever you're passionate about, I'm sure you can find something that speaks to that. And also Shira shared her information as well, if anyone has questions for both of them.
Perfect. Can you
Are there
hear me?
any?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so I went back and checked and it's actually not posted, but I'm going to post it in the next 5 minutes. What you will do, students, you will log into your Simplicity account and you will follow the steps that I was showing you in the beginning. Go to the virtual job bank and it will be coded 1L Law and Technology Diversity Collaborative Program. You will see some of the information under the OCPD events tab also, but you'll click on the name of the position. Again, you'll have to wait, give me 5 minutes to post the position. You'll click it and then you'll see a listing of a description of the program, which is similar to what you've heard today from Kathy, from Star, from Shira and Teresa. And then you'll see all of the requirements that have to be provided. So the cover letter, the resume, the diversity statement, and your transcript. We understand that you might not have your transcript by the time the January 17th deadline comes around. In the event that you don't have your transcript by January 17th, please still complete your application. Make sure that you click the red button that says apply. And then when your transcript becomes available, email it directly to me, and I will compile all of the students' transcripts and send them directly to the Diversity Collaborative for their review. So don't be discouraged if you don't have your grades yet. They will still review your application. But when you do receive your grades, you need to provide a copy of that, and you can just download a PDF version or download your transcript and save it as a PDF and then just send it as an attachment to me via email. If you do have your transcript available, you'll just upload it to Simplicity and put it in your documents portal, just like you would do with your resume or your cover letter. So everybody should be familiar with that. That's in the 1L class because you've all submitted your resume and cover letter assignments, and you should know how to apply for positions. So it should be posted in the next 5 or 6 minutes. I apologize. I thought it was already posted. And the deadline is January 17th. So that's all I have to add. If there's any more questions, I know we're basically out of time, but we have 1 minute left if there's any questions or any final comments.
Kristen, I just want to thank you for inviting the 4 of us in to chat, and everyone who is on the call. Thank you so much for coming out, listening to us share some information about a program that we all hold in very high esteem. And I encourage you right now, do not wait. Please put a reminder in your calendar. This is a trick that I do. The deadline is the 17th. So go ahead and put in your calendar that the application is due on the 13th so that you can make sure you get it in that Thursday before it's due. And just remind yourself to be working on it over the next couple of weeks. If this is not the program for you, I still wish you guys good luck and joy, because the practice of law can be really incredible. And I'm just so glad that all of you chose to join our profession. We're very lucky to have you.
Thank you all.
Thanks, everyone. Have a good rest of your day.
Have a great day. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.